To Alvin de Fear from Cecil. That's me for the mug. Regarding the infirmary at Fort Mug. Dear Sir, I have to report that there's been a little bit of an incident for the mug. There are a number of Hutton truckers currently recuperating in your ever so lovely facility at Fort Mug. It's much better these days now that people actually visit it. Someone's even bought us a pot plant for the corner, and the plumbing's now attached quite properly. Anyway, for the mug. We had an evening off. I'm still here, by the way, in case anyone was wondering. I've lost my wife again. I think he's gone to discover himself. Or Beagle Point. Actually, that can't be right. Someone already discovered that. Or should I say, built it. Maybe it's the Stargoid homeworld. What he's discovering, that is. Not himself, or Beagle Point. That would be confusing. Hang on, my glass is empty. That's better. For the mug. Anyway, we had a day off, and King Hanky brought us a new game he discovered in one of the cupboards. It's called Cards Against Hutton. I had no idea that Hanky was that dirty. Well, Commander Psycho Cow, for the mug. You know him, the one with the dirty cowhide on his ship, had brought out the pillbox and Simoof for a little relaxation. And so we were all playing. That's quite important, you know. It wasn't just me, it was them too. As I said, we were playing this game when a certain question was asked. And, aha! I thought, I know how to win this round. So I played with Lael's Ginger Minge. That's when it went wrong. I think Psycho Cow gave himself a hernia for the mug. And I'm sure that I've never seen Centauri Megagin, for the mug in a mug, having been drunk, come out of someone's nose. The tech monkey may have damaged something doing that. Pillbox soiled his flight suit. Fort Mug's nurses were very understanding, especially after they read the cards. Anyway, this is just to say that on second thoughts, I'd rather the exact cause didn't get back to Hutton, as Lael might take it the wrong way. Thank goodness I didn't play the one about you, Ermintrude, and the sausages. For the mug, lots of love, me.
In a room at the heart of the orbital, a group of friends gather quietly to remember one of their own. Borrowing words from Carl Sagan, one voice cuts through the silence.
Consider again that dot That's here. That's home. That's us. On it, everyone you love, everyone you know, everyone you ever heard of, every human being who ever was, lived out their lives. The aggregate of our joy and suffering, thousands of confident religions, ideologies and economic doctrines, every hunter and forager, every hero and coward, every creator and destroyer of civilization, every king and peasant, every young couple in love, every mother and father, hopeful child, inventor and explorer, every teacher of morals, every corrupt politician, every superstar, every supreme leader, every saint and sinner in the history of our species lived there, on a mote of dust, suspended in a sunbeam. The world is so exquisite, with so much love and moral depth, that there is no reason to deceive ourselves with pretty stories for which there's little good evidence. Far better, it seems to me, in our vulnerability, is to look death in the eye and to be grateful every day for the brief but magnificent opportunity that life provides. In the vastness of space and the immensity of time, it was our joy to share a planet and an epoch with Mark. Good evening, everyone, and thank you as always for joining us. A sombre start to the show this week, but appropriate that we remember Penfold. One of two who have passed away this week. Operator 88, who joined us on events as far back as 2015, is also being remembered fondly by friends far and wide. Both enjoyed the fun, the silliness and the sense of companionship that came from their hobbies in their free time, and as usual we'll be doing our very best to carry on that throughout this evening. As ever, my companions on this evening's journey are ready with their headlines and content for the week. I'm Rudolf Hucker, and I'm joined once again by
Harry Balzac,
Wilma Fingerdew,
the Apology Officer,
and Norma Snookers.
Our radio names should give you a little warning about the style of what's coming up next, but here goes with this week's headlines.
2 legs good, more legs better. We look ahead at the Odyssey.
Things have got really, really silly with Hutton's latest expansion.
Gone Goes on Going for Gold 2.
Small Medium at Large in Spooky Space Seance.
Galnet bars Lave Radio, age 7 3/4.
Voice pack attack in Polygon Postal Incident.
Hutton Update and Colonia in a right old state.
And Hutton's update on everyone else's state.
After last week's wild speculation about the GT Edition Scarab, the atmospheric Cabriolet SRV for going topless in tenuous atmospheres, and the Buckyball SR I've Got a Turbo buggy, the latest media releases have opened the lid on a new aspect of the Galaxy's forthcoming Big Odyssey once again. Multi-crew. The magic means by which pilots can project their presence into a seat not that far from your own appears to be getting an upgrade. Yes, your ship, whether it be a little Lakon 6 or the giant lawn dart that is the Anaconda, is being licensed to allow other people in the cockpit. Yes, real people. Poke them and they go, ow. Due to safety concerns to date, your cockpit, whilst designed for multiple people, including additional comfy chairs, coffee machine and reading material in the netting to the side of the seat, has limited access to the pilot. A complicated series of hard light holo projectors have allowed fellow pilots from across the galaxy to beam themselves aboard and take control of vital ship functions such as that extra pip, the turrets if fitted, and of course telepresence to one of the ship-launched fighters. With the advent of space legs, tenuous atmospheres, and fellow commanders needing to hitch a lift back home after being stranded on planets, media reports indicate that they'll actually be allowed to join you in your cockpit. What's more, your wings can now have legs. Yes, you can provide aerial cover for your passenger once they disembark. A few warnings though. Please avoid crushing your freshly disembarked passenger under the bulk of your suggestively shaped sausage ship. Firing your pocket pop gun at passing ships is very likely to end up being on the receiving end of a railgun shot, and a sneeze cannon to the knee isn't the kind of excuse that a mission giver is likely to accept as a reasonable one for being late. Dropping your passenger on a planet out near Beagle Point and then flying off sniggering will be considered the height of bad manners. Very funny though. There are rumours that handheld weaponry to prevent one-sided ship-to-shore action may include shoulder-mounted cascade cannons, pocket rockets, and everyone's favourite, the graffiti beam, used for carving your initials on the ship that's about to squish you like a bug. What's the first thing that will go through your mind when a plummeting vulture hits you going 400 meters per second? Likely it'll be its canopy.
Hutton's standing order when it comes to expansion is don't. We're too close to Sol and way too close to any other Pilots Federation registered groups, and going somewhere else is likely to end up in an exchange of views down some dark alley somewhere that will end up in the political equivalent of A&E, with a black eye and cartilage in your nose that goes crunch, crunch, crunch when you blow it. The Hot Pit team, aided by the system custodians, do everything they can to keep systems under the magic number that appears to cause automatic cloning of our faction NPC management team and their eviction to a nearby system. There is an exception, of course. If we find somewhere with a really, really silly name, that's very Hutton. It's why we're in Hag Hole. It's why we took over Bonkers. Unfortunately, it appears that Hutton's NPCs took this a little literally and treated it like a tinfoil behatted mission worthy of the Hunt for Raxla, or the latest canon interstellar search and research romp. Unable to find anywhere called Silly, they tried VV Silly and RR Silly before sitting down with their alphabet blocks and Alvin's preschool primer. Yes, we know that C can be pronounced softly, as in the word cease and in the middle of a cancel, and not hard as in complete clod or concrete sandals. But in a case of Ofri, worthy of a muggy, they decided that silly could be written C-A-E-L-I. And yes, there's an RR Saley. Which has led us to a situation where we've had to get the apology officer to contact the political team over at the Leviathan Scout Regiment and offer full and abject apologies on behalf of Alvin for not only being silly in silly, but propagating an immediate war against one of the local factions. Under an ambassadorial agreement, Hutton are, with the assistance of the LSR's more shooty commanders, attempting to round up all the Hutton NPCs in the war zones and then send them without trial to the Naughty Step, where they'll be reminded that when spelling silly, E comes before A, even after C, and that scrubbing cubicle 3 with your toothbrush is a really, really nasty punishment. We'd like to thank Admiral XX Hyde 840XX, Technation 87, and DJ Skywolf for their understanding in this matter, and are resolved to GTFO as soon as humanly possible.
Congratulations are due to Canon Interstellar, winners of the most recent Gold Award for Exploration with a staggering total. Now it's our time, and yes, we're going for broke, breaking out the exploration ships and honk-scoop jumping our way from Earthleg to Earthleg in the hopes that Hutton can emulate their experience. Hutton commanders have been seen putting the final touches on their ships, polishing their mighty jumper condors and hauling their asp out of storage, ready to bag anything they can find en route to the trophy. A new set of data has been published of high-value systems near the bubble, as well as one for Colonia, though you're not exactly spoiled for choice out there at the moment. To take part in this epic endeavour, you want to scan as much as you can, make sure you're in the Hutton Squadron, and of course have installed the Hutton Helper from hot.forthemug.com. When it comes to selling your data, anywhere counts, but the locations can sometimes be important. You want to sell for as much as you can, so investigate whether the local BGS can give you a bonus boost to your value. The jury's out whether that particular market helps, but trying your efforts to Lilong Rui, yes that means power play, and achieving a rank 5 status can mean you get double bubble for your trouble. In the meantime, truckers, get honking and we'll raid the prize cabinet for some awards and once and if we manage to raise the trophy.
Reports have come in of some weird goings on in the Call 285 sector, which Hutton is determined to investigate. We've put together a crack team of paranormal investigators from Hutton Orbital and will be heading out there shortly in an effort to solve the mystery. The team includes that old lady from the parade who reads your fortune for 10 credits. She gets them off a Galnet, you know.
No, I don't.
That weird looking guy who hangs around at McThargoid's offering to rebalance people's chakras.
No, I don't.
A budget clones for you super saver clone who was decanted too early and swears she can talk to Trumbles.
I can, you know.
And friend Federico, who hasn't moved, blinked, or spoken since 3301. No, you haven't. Led by Commander Okayam, the team will conduct a scientific survey of the site to ensure that the truth comes out. Okayam said, "We are following the science on this and taking a no expenses incurred approach. Equipment including a Ouija board, a 5-pack of woodbines,
I'm trying to give them up.
a selection of musical instruments made from suggestively shaped vegetables,
I'm trying to give them up.
thermal probinators,
I'm not giving up my probinators.
a cat that smells of vapour up, an economy pack of Snuggle McKeed's Lucky Charms for protection, an old sofa which someone once dumped, and more hakey tea than I've ever seen in one place has already been loaded in preparation for the journey. The intrepid science team are in high spirits, having already taken part in a farewell hakey tea ceremony and have dismissed warnings to stay away from the system and the strange goings on there. We at Hutton News must be more cautious, however, and advise that no commander should approach Call 285 Sector NP-W A31-3. If you do find yourself in Call 285 Sector NP-W A31-3, then whatever you do, you should not approach Moon 6A and definitely should not investigate what you find there. Commander Sham 295 was the first commander on site, and now we can't find one of his slippers. Be warned.
Does anyone want their chakras balanced? Eddie Lee Wise, tailor amongst the stars and Lave station resident, has fallen victim to his latest product release. Not content with cutting his cloth, with the aid of his wife Barbs and his husband Ken, to bring out the very best in every commander and cut a dashing figure, he appears to have launched a new beauty range targeted at the pilot who wants to, quite literally, take years off their image. Whilst it hasn't been unknown for pilots to use the wonders of Hollow Me technology to remove the odd wrinkle, or give themselves a suck, tuck and pluck to keep their youthful figure, Eddie's latest invention performs your beauty regimen at a microscopic level, putting lippy and a good foundation on your very DNA. As a hands-on flat cap wearing donkey jacket toting kind of guy, Eddie used his experimental cream on himself first, hoping to recapture some of the rugged steeplejack looks of his youth, which, we're led to believe, is where it all started to go wrong. Having experienced hair loss in some places and strange hair growth in others earlier in his life, the cream's immediate effect was to reverse both of them, giving him flowing locks and a chin as smooth as a 0.1G docking computer-led landing. The effects didn't stop there. He found new energy, a trim new waistline and the reversal of years of abuse of his body, but it carried on. His voting patterns have gone from pension-hoarding right, through angry hard-working left, and right out the other side into hippie student Green Party. He's shrunk in all dimensions, and to all intents and purposes, this titan of tailoring now more closely resembles Eddie Jr., age 7 3/4. His voice has unbroken. He went through a phase of terrible acne and has complained of frequent cases of premature detonation every time someone wiggles their asp in front of him. This, however, has been the least of his problems. As a temporary keyholder for Lave Radio, he found that station bosses rejected his ID at the checkpoint and promptly locked him out of the studio, telling him that he's far too young to hear that sort of thing and to run along and get his mum to come back with a note. And no, Eddie, a scrawled piece of paper saying, "Eddie's excused PE this week as he's got a bit of a cold," isn't what they're looking for. Nurse Wyeth has been called and is attempting every ageing treatment she can come up with, including soaking him in cold tea, scrunching him up and then ironing him to make him look well used, burning his edges with a candle to give him that just escaped from a combat zone vibe, and of course rubbing him with castor oil and specially developed aging liniment at every opportunity, attempting to bring back his lumbago. Station dietitians are attempting to force-feed him the richest of foods to bring back his gout, and he's been gargling with gravel and cigar ash to try and bring back his usual gruff northern tones. We wish Eddie well. Anyone who has purchased some Lave brand anti-aging cream is advised not to rub it on any part of their anatomy, for fear that even mild doses might cause them to actually de-evolve to a more primitive form and take up PvP.
Incoming encrypted transmission. Decrypting. Decryption complete.
Stand by for a message from HAXCOM Actual.
Okay, HAXWING. The Alliance is building bases out in the Coalsack Nebula, and they need AX pilots to push old Tharg back and protect the cargo ships bringing in the supplies. From Commodore Halloran's bulletin, sounds like if we give them a good push out now, they won't cause as much havoc to the Coalsack stations in the future. You'll be looking for non-human signal sources in Coalsack sector systems KN-S B4-9 and VU-O B6-6 and Muscadark region systems IM-V C2-24 and P6-P B6-1. Let's only hope they change the names of those systems once there's stations there. Threat 3 and 4 non-human signal sources will have scouts only. You can take those on with AX multi-cannons, which can be picked up at any planet-side military base. Threats 5 and higher will be Thargoid interceptors, scouts, or a mix of both. You'll only want to take those on if you've got a well-engineered AX combat ship. Be sure to sell your combat bonds at the Spirit of Nysa megaship to let the Alliance know just how much we did for them. I hear there's a special bonus if you're one of the top earning pilots. Good luck out there, Commanders. Watch your six and keep an eye on the signal sources.
HAXCOM message complete. Defend the mug.
And encrypted transmission.
HCS Voice Pack Systems, galactically renowned kidnappers of the rich and famous from film and the telly, have released an urgent appeal for all pilots to beware the Parrot. Finn, their captive Norwegian Blue, and the voice behind the robotic cockpit cracker, munching companion, the ship's Parrot Mark III, has escaped his cage and has gone on a rampage. It's rumoured that the Norwegian Cobalt Blue is very much alive and incredibly angry at his long-term incarceration with nothing but a microphone for company and the voice of HCS maestro Paul on repeat saying, "Can we just do one more take, please? This time with a little more feeling." Finn was last seen at Hutton Orbital, having hitched a lift on a passing dolphin, and all residents of the station are advised not to approach, as the Polly's gone postal and pecking anything that comes within range. Hang on. What's that flapping noise?
Cock-a-doodle friggin' do!
Norma! The bloody parrot's loose in the studio!
Wanna fight?
He's got me by my... oh, that's smart! Get off!
Have it!
Somebody get security in here in the double!
I'm sorry, listener, we appear to be experiencing some technical difficulties.
That's more like it. Somebody in body armour. Quick! Grab it before it reaches the desk.
I'm gonna kill the parrot.
Red alert! We're all gonna die! Game over! Game over!
Oh, man, what did you do?
Clean that one up.
It's dead. No, it's not pretending, waiting to bite you. Look at it. It's an ex-parrot. It's flown off to meet its maker. If it wasn't nailed to the wall by your dart gun, it would be pushing up the daisies. Yes, I know it's only a robot, but really? Next time, try a net.
Hey, does it hurt? You know, when you try to think.
It's okay. Emergency over, everyone. Please disregard the warnings.
Filthy Hutton trucking mollusk! I'm not dead, just resting.
Oh, no, someone else take over. I'm off.
I know Kung Fu.
I hate you!
Shut your face, hippie.
Well, since Lou got arrested for starting a riot on the lower rotunda by singing karaoke last night, his Shirley Bassey back catalogue if you must know, I suppose it's down to me to have a go at the BGS bit. Okay, so let's have a look at what's in the BGS box this week and see what we have here.
Wanna fight?
No, leave me alone. Oh, we've expanded into RR Saley, but the stations are all painted in institutional green and baby food beige inside, so we just don't want it. Just pretend you didn't see it and leave well alone. We need work in Barnard Star, Epsilon Eridani, Epsilon Indy, Hyco, Kokari, and Stein 2051. They don't need much of it, but they do need a little bit of work, and a little bit goes a long way. Hilpassy and Van Manen Star could do with a wee tickle too. Do not touch LHS 340, whatever you do. He'll hunt me down like a duck if you do. We are cruising very close to expansion in the following systems. Alpha Centauri.
Red alert! We're all gonna die! Game over! Game over!
Somebody shut that parrot up. That'll do. We're cruising very close to expansion in the following systems. Alpha Centauri, LP245-10, PSPL LF2, WISE 0855-0714, and Wolf 124. Leave these systems alone. LP525-39 is dangerously close to expansion, so work against Hutton there if you can. And so to Colononia. All the stuff is broken in EO Procol Centauri after King Hanky spilled a big mug of something wet and fizzy all over the reactor console, triggering infrastructure failure. Bring infrastructure-y things. Infrastructure failure is properly serious, so let's get this one sorted. Mission running and passenger missions for hot call systems is good. Cache in your exploration data in EO Procol Centauri, Dolar Depot and Tier only, and Buy low, sell high in our systems. If in doubt, then contact King Hankey. At least, I think that's right. If I'm wrong and it all goes pear-shaped in the next few days, well, at least Lou will have something to do when he gets back next week.
It's time for Norma's Knowledge Nuggets now, as I bring you up to date with what's happening in events organised by you, the members of this great community. Graham and Kay has given us a concise, nay, pithy update on Wolf Hunt. Nothing really changed on the hunt for Wolf 562. It's on the back burner for now. Current goal is to take over Narnia and find out what's in the wardrobe. And this Going for Gold version 2 is the main thing going on. Oh, we've expanded again, but we don't want it because it smells, and we are going to lose the expansion war. We lose, we leave.
Wanna fight?
No. Next we have Speedball 4, which is going to be on the 21st and 22nd of November, and this update comes from Commander Primetime Casual, bringing us up to date on the extensive preparations for the event and adding a +1 to the count for mentions of Alec Turner in community events. BBRC member and almost but not quite winner of the 8-Wheel Championship, Alec Turner, arrived and showcased the beauty of the event location system. On the matter of which ship to take, the all-time top 10 are dominated by Vipers, but for newcomers, a ship like the Hauler or Adder might be easier. There's also a run for the fastest large-sized ship, with Commander Iceman Asbo 27 having tested his Corvette to 3,512 metres a second successfully. In a newly founded category, if you intend to run a completely E-rated Sidewinder, there's a special ranking in the Side E class. The event organisers want to remind everyone that the Litherwake will depart HR 6164 on Friday the 13th, heading to 61 Virginis to pick up any participants who are in need of a lift. The return trip to the View starts on Monday 16th, 1900 UTC. And special thanks to Phoebia, who provided the brilliant speed calculator at http://fortonique.hu/sbsc/ calculating that the top speed achievable during this event will be 3,671 metres a second. Let's see if that is indeed the limit. It's nearly time for Expedition Mercury's wings to set off on November the 22nd. An expedition from the amazing canyons of Pamesh in the Bubble all the way to the far side of the galaxy, through over 60,000 light years of beautiful space and on a voyage to explore new star systems. All the while taking the DSSA's new fleet carrier, Shepherd's Dream, to its resting place in the outer Scutum Centaurus arm in the galactic northwest. But before that, on November the 15th, the pre-launch meeting is happening in the system. Witchhead, Sector DL-Y, D22 and on Body 1A. The meetup's landing zone will be announced nearer the time. The meetup will start at 1900 in-game time. This will be a pre-launch meetup for everybody to get to know each other and for some fun and games. Remember to bring your exploration ships and SRVs with you. I look forward to seeing you all there. If you're not already signed up with the expedition, please do this on the EDSM website under Expeditions. Details at bit.ly Mercury Swings, including their Discord link. Our own apology officer is organising an event that happens tomorrow. If you're listening to the podcast, you may be too late. Hotbox Go to the Ruins, a Going for Gold 2 event. Details on the Hutton Facebook events page. Join Team Hotbox as we do our bit for Going for Gold 2. As part of the new initiative for Hutton Squadron to work towards Exploration Gold, Hotbox are taking a trip out to the Hawkins Gap Alpha site, which lies at approximately 10,000 light years from the bubble. PLAA AEC IZ-N C20-1 Planet A1A at coordinates 25.0029 21.5814. This will give us lots of opportunities to discover new systems, planets, and maybe even the odd life form or two. Once there, commanders can scan the data points, gather logs, and pick up some manufactured engineer maths. I'm organising Hotbox, but of course, PC and PS4 commanders are welcome to come along. You will have to organise yourselves though. Also, it's Friday the 13th. What could possibly go wrong?
I love you.
I don't know.
I mean it.
Organised by a Frenchman, but being run in English kindly take into account the linguistic abilities of the average English speaker. La Grande Expedition 3306, also known as the Great Expedition 3306, is a long exploration trip organised every year by the Remlock community. This year we plan to start from Plangura for a course of 83.8 kilo light years. As always, the GE will offer a red line story to follow and various activities through the expedition to support our pilots. Departure from Plangura on November the 27th at 8 p.m. UTC, which is 8 p.m. London, 9 p.m. Paris, 3 p.m. Quebec. Maximum date of arrival at Braguram due January the 10th at 10 p.m. UTC and London, 11 p.m. Paris and 5 p.m. Quebec. This fourth great expedition will offer activities and stories in an experienced group of veterans. Minigames throughout the expedition to encourage activity and win prizes, some of which are unique and only available during events supported by Frontier Developments. Fantastic views both on the surface and in space. Rare points of interest to discover solo or in a group, and great memories with the Remlock community. Details on EDSM include their Discord invite, and we have created a link to make it easy for you to find. bit.ly/GE3306. That's a capital G and a capital E. If you get that bit wrong, don't blame us if we get taken to a page featuring scantily clad models. No, stop that. Don't go and check now. Stay here. What are you lot like? As always, if you're organising an event in game, get in touch and we'll tell everyone about it in a future show.
Right. I'm not your friend.
Shut it.
And we're back. Thank you very much to the entire radio team. Flossy, I'm sorry about the parrot. Okay, we're doing our best to get the parrot. Tell you what, you maybe take a run up at it with your pan. Maybe that would do.
Maybe. Hang on.
Run away! Run away! Run away!
Okay, I think he's gone. I think the parrot's gone. Well, thank you very much to our friends at HCS for loaning us the parrot for this evening.
Nice bird, that lovely plumage.
Lovely plumage. Yes, obviously the background to that one is that Finnegan, who is the voice of the parrot in the HCS voice pack, actually got attacked by a parrot in St James's Park this week. Life mirroring art, mirroring life, mirroring art. So, yes, we understand he survived the incident.
He should not have been up in that tree then, should he? If he was up in the tree, no wonder the parrot was upset.
He certainly shouldn't have been doing his parrot voice.
Well, yeah, here's the thing. Maybe they know their own. I don't know how parrots work, whether it's obviously not visual. He looks nothing like a parrot, but maybe he was walking along awking to himself, awk, and making noises. But,
With his
If he
parrot
wasn't
suit on.
trespassing, if he gets trespassing, he could go up before the beak.
Oh, Flossie.
Taxi for pond.
Anyway, but so yeah, it's, thank you very much to those guys, and obviously we're in the studio. I'm joined by the usual radio team, or at least some of the usual radio team. The kidnappings are carrying on. We've now had Dead Meat GF kidnapped by whoever's doing all the kidnappings.
We're not in a hurry to get him back, though, are we?
Not in too much of a rush, no.
Nah.
I mean, there are rumours that he has been sent to the naughty step and being blamed thoroughly for the expansion into really, really silly that we did this week. Obviously, just an introduction for everybody. I'm sure you know the rest of the team, but Amelia's here. Good evening, Aemilia.
Hello.
Are you really ready for the food this week?
Well, the food this week.
Are you? I
You
mean,
know what? I don't want to give anything away, but let's just say, well, it's interesting and it's terrible.
Is it really a food, or is it
No,
some kind of
no,
punishment?
not really.
No, it's.
Well, yes and no. I mean, on both counts.
I mean, can you stick it in your mouth and swallow it? And I suppose has somebody used it as food at some point?
You can do that with so many things.
Yeah, but well, we've got.
Oh, I
we've
think
got
I've just bitten my bottom lip off.
Oh dear. So we've got the Galnet.
What's a lip off?
Oh dear. I'm going to get the security guy back with his big rifle again. He's intimidating looking in that armor. Yeah, he likes to think he's I don't know, in some kind of cosplay from sci-fi somewhere. Anyway, and we're joined by the apology officer. Good evening.
Hello.
So you've got an event coming up with Team Hotbox. Are there going to be some genuine old-fashioned apologies coming up?
Very likely.
You know, what's the list of potential incident types?
Oh, well, there's bound to be SRVs on the go, so somebody's either going to get stuck and blown up, or just normally blown up, or somebody's going to go to the wrong system or the wrong planet in the system. Somebody's going to attract Thargoids. Somebody's going to unleash something. All that kind of stuff. All the usual kind of stuff, you know.
Yeah, I mean, just destruction and,
Death, destruction, mayhem, fires in a vacuum, that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it sounds like it's going to be good fun. We have got a bunch of new friends for Hotbox. We went hunting friends this week.
Did you?
Yeah. So, we expanded into Really, Really Silly.
Yes.
And it turns out that's the Leviathan Scout Regiment, who I understand are very, very Xbox.
Oh,
and the first thing they said when I got there, did the ambassadorial thing, handed out the Ferrero Rocher, was like, oh, have you guys got any events coming up? We'd love to join them. And I said, well, I think they're off to some ruins sometime soon. And it's the Hotbox team on Xbox. And there was lots of, ooh, and we might go and join in that one. I know they're putting together a team to try and steal the Hutton Run trophy off Riverboat. And actually take it out of Hutton hands as well.
Well, remember they do need the Hutton helper for that.
Yeah, no, they're fully clued up on all these things.
If you've got the Hutton helper, you are automatically a Hutton trucker, so they can't take it out of Hutton hands.
Well,
we've got them in a technicality. We've got them every way.
But no, and I'd like to say thank you very much for the guys from LSR. It's so nice when you sort of bump into another player group and you sort of log into their Discord channel, and the first thing it says is, be awesome to each other. It's we like that.
Yep.
They feel very Huttonish in there and very silly as well. So they seem like a lovely bunch. They're our next door neighbours, and we look forward to inviting them on some of our future events. I will put you in touch, and I'll put the hot boss in touch with their hot boss, Admiral XX Hyde 840XX.
That's lots of X's.
Lots of kisses on that one, yeah.
Yes, lots of kisses.
Yeah, very friendly Admiral, we understand. And see whether we can get some events together. Obviously, they're well up for joining in some of the future CQC ones as well, and joining in, trying the Hutton Run, that sort of stuff. So, yeah.
Are they any good? Because if they're any good, we might want to hold off on that one.
No, they say they're awesome. They are, tip top.
All right.
They may or may not be listening in this evening. I don't know what time zone they're on, but we'll give them a copy of this show afterwards. So we'll say, hello, everybody.
Hello.
Yes, and we're also joined by Sean this evening, by Palantir.
Hello, I'm back.
You're back. You're front. You're top, and you're bottom.
It was nice having a week off for once, but I missed it.
No, if you've got a week off, you've got to go and get tested.
Yes, I do.
You don't have exclusivity. You don't have exclusivity on the dad jokes. I'm sorry.
All the dodgy Scottish accents.
Well, no, we've got our own
No,
resident dodgy Scottish
obviously,
accent.
Mia. Obviously.
Is it dodgy Scottish with an accent?
It's
or
better
is
than
it...
Benedetti's,
Yeah.
I tell you that.
That is the worst fake Scottish accent I've ever heard.
I thought it was a good fake Scottish accent.
Well, it depends which part of Scotland you think he's from.
Which part of
Depends
fake
whether-
Scotland do you mean?
Oh, right, well, the Newcastle part of Scotland.
Yeah, I heard that voice software actually recognised what he said, so there you go.
Oh, well, that's it. He's definitely a fake then.
Yes, if it understands the word 11.
11.
Yes, that's the acid test. So, yeah, coming up in the show. So Commander Palantir, actually, just looking back at the news for a second. So, Lave Radio. We do know
Yes.
that one of the representatives is hiding out in the Twitch chat channel as well, possibly dying of
I can see him
embarrassment.
there now, yes. Mhm.
But I think we
Sorry,
do.
we can't see him over the corner of the desk.
I think we do have a special report from Eddie Lee Wise later.
Oh, yes, we're looking forward to that, yes.
Yeah.
A special recording. Came into the studio, there was a knock at the door, and I looked through the glass, and I thought there was nobody there.
And there was a little,
I opened
little
the
guy
door,
in short
there he
shorts.
was, little guy, yes, it was. Oh, it's
I've got
so
a message
cute.
for you, sir. Yes.
Yeah.
My mum says you'll give me 50p.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, unfortunately, Lave Radio's Gal Twitter account did get taken off the air after instead of using the presenter's age, they managed to use the radio station's age, which is 7 3/4. Unfortunately, the first thing Twitter went was, "Oh, you're not 13. You can't play." So at the moment, Lave Radio are trying to get their Twitter account back online and convince everybody they're not actually 7 3/4, even though they are.
Ah, okay. And while we're
Never mind,
while-
just wait 5 1/4 years, it'll be fine.
yeah, it'll be fine. And while we're blaming Lave Radio for stuff, Commander Okayan, who gave me the story about the Call 285 spooky settlement, did say that he only got the information from Lave Radio. He just copied what they told him. He says he hadn't done any research or anything. He just splodged and reposted it.
So we're playing
Fake
Chinese
news.
whispers with this stuff. So there could be nothing there. It could be a massive trolling attempt. The Pilots Federation troll Lave and Lave troll us, and a big chain of trollage.
Yeah, so much trollage that you wouldn't believe it,
Oh yeah. And anyway, Aemilia, obviously with the media this week.
Yes.
One of the big magazines has a front cover spread of some grand-looking person walking around with a big rifle from Odyssey, and there's talk of multi-crew actually being real people and not holograms.
I know, right?
I mean, how can you tell? You're strapped to your seat. Reach over and poke them, or just throw things across the cockpit and see if it goes through them. Are they real? Donk. Yeah, okay, that's a real person. But, I mean, it boggles the mind that you fly somebody out to Beagle Point, drop them off and say, I'm just popping out for a sandwich, and then not come back. I wonder how you get... I mean, can you put a little beacon and a nice little NPC and a rescue ship turns up and picks you up or something? I'm really curious to see how this is all going to work.
I think
I was-
everyone's curious.
Yeah, that was the inspiration behind the picture that we used for that.
Yes,
news
I did
article.
notice that wonderful screenshot of the planet and a little speech bubble there that says "bastard."
Yeah, I thought you'd like that.
Yeah. I did manage to hit the right button and put that one up on screen, I think, at some point. But yeah, so I mean, of course, it's all real. It's all coming next year. I think this is first quarter next year. What that means is, I don't know. Maybe March, possibly. Could be February.
They did say quarter 1, didn't they?
Yeah.
So
So
March at the
31st.
latest.
by March, should we say? A bit like when all this
Yeah.
lockdown finishes, and yeah. And then we've spoken about the poly thing. Going for gold, Flossy. You're going to cover a bit of. Are you covering that in your CCCCG bit in a bit, or not?
Are they going for gold? It's not in the CG news, no.
Oh right, okay. So it is officially a CCCCG thing, but we'll cover it now. Which is, hang on a second. Let's.
Flossy told you what to do.
Isn't
Flossy?
it a CCCGG?
Yes.
CCCGG. That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Flossie tells us what to do. Flossie, what is the CCCCG and how does it differ from a CG?
It's a community-created community goal.
A community-created community goal. Okay.
Something like that.
Right.
And
You're just making it up. You're making it up as you go along now, Flossie.
Yeah.
You're just saying words now.
Bring the parrot back.
So what community is it targeting, this one?
It's targeting, Hutton community, everybody and anybody who wishes to join in to get the gold trading. No, not trading. Exploration.
We've got the trading one, yes.
The gold exploration trophy by getting
Yes.
as much exploration data as can.
Now, Canon Interstellar did get it. Now, what happened was Canon Interstellar had a guy with 15 billion credits on board, and he signed up for Li Long Rong Ring Ru, the power play chap, who's we've got one system in his area. Anyway, they signed up for him, and that turned into 45 billion credits in one drop. It took the guy 5 hours to drop the data.
Yeah, I bet. Ooh.
Yeah. So 45 billion of the total is one pilot attached to Li Long Rui, which, it's good, but I think we're doing it the hard way, aren't we? Just everybody's going to drop data.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Well, we've got, at the moment, we've had our first 11 people drop data.
11.
11. Texas Stew and Semele Wild Sea, Flossy, Wrong Way, Rincewind Cymru, Poppy, Christopher Hankey, Lydia the Void, Tom Sawyer, Montgomery Python, and Big Block appear to have dropped a load already. So we've got our first 54 million in the bank. Thank you very much, everybody.
Nice.
It is open to all platforms, but we're not counting you separately. So in terms of the overall leaderboard table of who's dropped the most, we're counting everybody together, but obviously each one counts towards your own gold awards.
Yes.
Obviously,
It's a different.
Yeah.
It's a different squadron on each platform.
Yes. So yes, make sure you're in the squadron, make sure you're in the Hutton Helper, find data, drop data, rinse and repeat, try and get gold. That's sort of the size of it.
Yeah, that's it.
As long as you do it by the end of the season, which is in 55 days from now, something like that. I think that's how long we've got to do it. So the numbers aren't going to go up really high, really early. Not unless people are coming back fast. A lot of people are going to stay out for a while, then suddenly drop loads. So we'll keep a running total, Flossie. If it's okay with you in future CG bits, we'll get you a bit of a totalizer that you can join in with.
Yep, that would be okay, yeah.
And Pillbox says he wasn't paying attention to any of the shows for the last 3 weeks and dropped off a couple of 100 million last week.
Pillock.
Special.
Pillbox.
He had one job to do. One job.
Pillbox the Pillock.
Oh, no, don't mean to Pillbox. He didn't know, but he's gone, well, you can always get a couple of 100 million.
Should have known.
But that's only 200 Earth likes or something, it's not much.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that's the CCCCCG. Now, I've programmed in some music for you, Flossie, this week. You're going to have Interstellar Initiatives music because I like it this week.
Okay.
Yay.
It is actually like an Interstellar Initiative with all the small parts, isn't it?
Yeah, all little bits going to a big
bit.
bit.
For some reason, you haven't called it one this time.
Yeah,
I haven't seen any small parts. What are you on about?
Well, not till later when you get ready for bed.
Yes.
Right. So other than that, obviously at the start of the show, we did do our little memorial to Commander Penfold because we did get the terrible news this week that he'd unfortunately passed away on Sunday. We got the message through Skip Rat, who's another long-standing friend of the show. Many of us have met Penfold at events and shared our sort of social and free time with Penfold as well. And obviously we send out an awful lot of love and all our condolences to his family. Was slightly heartened to hear from his family yesterday that they were actually able to be with him as well. I know all this lockdown has been terrible, but they were actually able to be with him as well over in hospitals, which was very heartening news in these really quite crappy times as well. But all of our love to Penfold's family. We will be trying to organise something in-game, an event and a bit of a get-together. But we got a bit of planning to do on that one first. And we do have a little special something as well, which are going to be broadcasting slightly later in the show, with which to remember Penfold, to remember Mark as well. There is the family have also got in touch, and they've said that any collection they're going to be doing, they want it to go to special effects, as it was a charity very dear to Mark's heart as well. So we are going to be setting up a little Just Giving page for sort of charity donations in lieu of, you know, being able to go to funerals, that kind of thing, or sending flowers. So we will be setting that one up as well, and we will publicise details of that for anybody that does want to drop something in for the charity in his name. So yeah, really sad. And of course there was another commander, unfortunately, who we haven't heard from for a long time, but joined us back in 2015, I think, on some of the early, I think it was the very first beta bash that we did, which was Commander Operator 88. Unfortunately, has also left this world in the last week, and obviously their very close friends have let us know and said they're also doing memorials in game too. So it's been a bit of a few weeks for it, and it's always terribly sad. But you know, as a community, we just, you know, send our love, and if anybody needs to speak to us at any time, then we're always here. You can always get in touch with us. Okay, what have we got? What have we got coming up for the rest of the show? We've got some Wotherspoon, I think, in a bit. We've got some Flossy CG news. We've got some Galnet Food Digest, and we've got some outrageous sports as well.
They're not outrageous. It's perfectly acceptable.
Well, if you work out what, yeah, I'm just reading the titles of some of these. Actually, no, they're quite appropriate. These ones.
They are. They're very appropriate. Everything should make perfect sense. It's an oasis of clarity in the hurly-burly of the Hutton news.
Yeah. So, what have we got? Who's doing the intro for the next bit? I bet you're going to say, well,
Me.
it's you. Oh, it's you on this one. Hang on a second.
Right.
Let me just get back to the right spot. The parrot's now gone. Don't worry. We're not going to have any more parrot interruptions, I promise.
Uh-huh. Right. Are you ready for me to start?
I am now, yes. It's
right.
The parrot's
Okay.
locked out.
Right. So, before Wotherspoon and Beetlejude show us the progress they've made with their naked fire juggling act. No, it's true, really. Jude said that she dyed her hair, but really it all burnt off, and that's a blonde wig. We've got a small piece of poetry from the man who puts the dog in Dogger L.
Good afternoon, truckers. Percy Thrasher here. Now, normally I'd be out farming barnacles, but sometimes the weather's too cold. So I sit down and read letters from our listeners. What's that, sir? Tell you a tale? Buy me a gin. Sit right down there. I'll spin you a yarn about how we all fared that time we went hunting a giant black whale. It was autumn in Eden, but you'd not likely tell, apart from some geezers and the rather ripe smell. I was patrolling the system with wingmen in tow, and hunting for pirates who so like to sow dissent and destruction in our little faction, and maybe just bored and looking for action. 8 of us there, our teamspeak was right, talking of sausages and other such tripe. With Skiprat and Mindwipe, Mad Monk was there, and a couple of Texans, and a dog with bad hair. Ventura was docking, repairing his hull, getting all nice and shiny before that evening's cull. A message on Discord caught Mindwipe's attention. A trucker whilst docking just happened to mention a blip on his radar, a message inbound. There was an orker just hanging around. He's not one of ours, the frog bear exclaimed. So we headed for Alvin, the one we renamed. Approaching in cruise, we locked on his ship and scanned it to make sure that our little trip was fruitful and not wasting much of our time. The name it resolved, along with a sign that said wanted, which meant we were clear to fight this here deathlock, who's not welcome here. I tried interdiction, this slippery foe escaped it with ease, but with one more go, I caught him and dropped him and began my scan. Keep up, we've got him! But then he began to trash talk me, cursing and swearing and telling me over how he'd use my poor noggin for a cup in his rover. His orca, for that was the ship that he flew, was black, and his bounty was worth quite a few. My wingmen arrived and he laughed in our faces. Here, in our very own system of all places, that whale opened gun ports and started a fire. As Deathlock's voice pitched higher and higher,
I'll kill you, I'll ruin you, I'll take all your stuff. You dare resist me, you think you're so tough?
That's when it happened. Skiprat blew up. Now look here, I said. Listen, young pup. That's enough now. We're 7 and you're on your own. Oh bother. Ventura's canopy's blown. But cut it right out and you can high wake. You're making an awfully nasty mistake. But that whale, it kept coming and blasting our ships. Not a scratch on his armour, even with pips, to weapons from all of our trackers.
Take that, you old...
Mindwipe's ship blew after hitting my rear. He's boosted right into me while flying too near. This combat was turning quickly to farce. That impact had left me with quite a sore hull. The Texans had been crushed under the whale's giant bulk. And the dog just left us, jumped out for a sulk. That left Hober and I in a bad situation. Let's go and get some help and repair at the station. I fired 2 torpedoes in a bid to survive and get the heck out whilst we were alive. The orca went silent. A heat sink he burned, and I watched in horror as my missiles turned and took out poor Hober. He was running quite hot, the look on his face as his ship fell to bits, when Deathlock screamed louder,
Take that, you shit!
His final words were,
Die, you fat chump!
His cursing was distant as my ship made the jump. So, have a care, fellow truckers round Alpha Centauri, and don't think I exaggerate one bit of this story, for Deathlock and the might of his whale might make you the subject of your very own tale.
Galnet News Digest, 12th of November, 3306. We read the news so you don't have to.
In this week's news roundup,
Hadrian calls for mercy over Marlinists.
creepy colony discovered.
Telepresence, but real.
Orange Sidewinder loses its keys.
Hadrian calls for mercy over Marlinists.
Hadrian Duval, who is now recognised as a grandson of Emperor Hengist Duval and an imperial slave, the one-time figurehead used by Imperator Kaiser Merdanticus to legitimise his acts of sedition against Emperor Arissa, and exiled in Pariso as a result of his failed coup attempt, having suffered a near-fatal assassination and having had his life saved by the prismatic princess Aisling Duval, now nursed back to full health, has experienced a Damascene conversion.
Once an isolationist hardliner, Imperator Hadrian has appealed for the Emperor to show compassion to the peace-loving Marlinist faction who only want fairer distribution of wealth, and to enforce the ancient rule first put forward by the salty tea-wetters of Boston, that there should be no taxation without representation. Hundreds of thousands of Marlinists have felt compelled to flee their home systems ahead of a brutal crackdown by Senator Denton Petraeus, who is doggedly striving to winnow out the neo-Marlinist terrorist needles from the Marlinist haystack. Only a few weeks ago, Hadrian's Nova Imperium would have had no truck with the soft left-wing liberal Republicans of the Marlinist movement, But now it appears that the Imperator sees common cause with these same Republicans and is begging for the Imperial Internal Security Service, who have this week failed in their attempt to uncover a neo-Marlinist bomb factory in LTT 1935, to show them mercy and to instead concentrate only upon cracking down on the terrorists who have already caused so much death and destruction in the Empire.
In related news, after his prolonged career as an unknown slave, and then as the second blackest sheep of the imperial family after the now deceased Prince Harold, Hadrian has been proposed by Princess Aisling for admission into the Inner Duval fold, to stop being a naughty imperator and to start being a nice prince. Now that his status as grandson of the departed emperor is acknowledged, Hadrian technically has more right to be emperor than the emperor herself, and if readmitted to the family and if granted the title prince, would be expected to become the first in line of succession to the imperial throne. However, Emperor Arissa and her militaristic sidekick, Senator Petreius, may view the figurehead behind the 3305 attempt to overthrow the imperial leadership with less than the greatest fondness. Princess Aisling's plea on behalf of the Imperator may well fall on deaf imperial ears. Creepy colony discovered.
Another scary settlement has been found by a commander using the pseudonym Charm295. Unlike the previous discovery near the Coalsack Nebula, this one is a mining settlement, and for opportunists there are copious amounts of low-value minerals to strip. There are also logs which you can read, telling the story of the settlement, and it wasn't an entirely happy place. If you'd like to visit the settlement, you can either follow the trail yourself, starting at the listening post in Col 285 Sector UB-T A33-4, or you can jump right in to Col 285 Sector NP-W A31-3. Head to Planet 6A and drop in at latitude 35.34, longitude -137.66. But be careful not to do it just before bedtime. Telepresence, but real.
Spaceships aren't just for combat, exploration and trade. From next year, you'll also be able to use them to transport your friends and wigmates around the galaxy using new technology known as physical telepresence. This is just like the telepresence we know and love, but instead of the guest commander being a hologram, they'll be an actual commander. This is such a radical concept that it may take some getting used to, but it does mean that your wingmates can hitch a ride, and you can help them to get to those on-foot missions you're all so keen to try out. Orange Sidewinder loses its keys.
The keys to the Lave Radio Orange Sidewinder have been confiscated after it was discovered that the ship was being flown by Commander Aid Levice, who had completed forms declaring that he was 7 3/4 years old. Despite his protestations that he had made a mistake, and that he is actually 21 years old, the authorities of Galtwit have declined to return the keys. Winding back the odometer on a Sidewinder is an offence punishable by death, so the infant Aid Levice, who was last seen wearing a purple Teletubby suit, should consider himself lucky to have escaped this fate. Until normal service has been resumed, we can look forward to substantially fewer tweets from the hottest show this side of the creche.
And that's this week's Galnet News.
Galnet News. We read the news so you don't have to.
Thank you, Commanders Wotherspoon and Beetlejude. Well, some of those items seem familiar, but at the same time, quite different. We've got a message now from someone who's, at the same time, an old contributor, but also not. But after that, we'll have a touch of comfort and normality. It'll be Flossy with the CG news.
Italy Wise here from Italy Wise, plus me mum and dad over at Lave Station. New this month, we've got our range of anti-aging creams, an all-over treatment that just lifts the years off your DNA. Me telomeres have never been longer. Me mum says they're a wonder, as she's never looked perkier, and father can't keep hands to himself. Our latest fashion range includes short shorts, sandals and duffel coats. We also sell a range of voice changers for anyone that uses too much and goes through puberty in reverse. Mum says I've got to go do my homework now, but I want to go fly spaceships. Anyone got booster seats so I can reach controls? Station commander smells of wee.
When the universe is in trouble, bug infestations in the bubble, your home station's burned rubble. What on earth can we do when your faction leader's a dog and your daily tasks are a slog? You're feeling like a used cog. What on earth can we do now? Interstellar initiatives. Let Flossy tell you what it is. Then you can get involved with this. You should listen to what Flossy says. Interstellar initiatives. Flossy tells us what she thinks it is. Then you can get involved with this. Now you should listen to what Flossy says. Listen to what Flossy says. What on earth can we do? Do what Flossy tells you.
Hello, Flossy here with this week's CG news. Last week's CGs both finished after 4 a.m. this morning when the Federation completed by reaching Tier 5. The Imperials didn't quite make it to Tier 3. This week's CGs support the Alliance's expansion into the Corsac Nebula and protect the Alliance's expansion into the Corsac Nebula from Thargoid attack. The Alliance plans to construct several new outposts in the Corsac Nebula. From these, commercial and scientific operations will be conducted to locate fresh sources of meta-alloys and other potential sites of interest. The initiative was prompted by the findings of a planetary survey team 200 years ago, which were only discovered after an abandoned megaship arrived at the Chukchan system. The Alliance Expeditionary Pact's initial plans are to build Betancourt Base Starport in Muscadark region, PJ-P, B6-1 and 3 further outposts. Hanu Arena in Muscadark region, IM-V, C2-24, Coal Point in Corsac sector, VU-0, B6-6, and Bearing Point in Corsac sector, KN-S, B4-9. Shipments of power generators, robotics, structural regulators and building fabricators are required and can be delivered to the megaship Spirit of Nysa in the Muscadark region PJP B6-1 system. The more commodities that are supplied, the more outposts will be upgraded to starports and the greater the range of services they will offer. Should everything go to plan, they will be in place for the 26th of November 3306. Commodore Morag Halloran of the Allied Defence Force discussed security arrangements. We anticipate a heavy Thargoid presence within the Corsac Nebula. Therefore, it is a strategic necessity that we act now to curtail the threat to future exploration. Independent pilots and anti-Xeno squadrons can serve the Alliance by focusing their efforts on the Corsac sector KN-S B4-9, Corsac sector VU-O, B6-6, -6, Muscadark region IM-V C2-24 and Muscadark region PJ-P B6-1 systems, which will host the new structures. If successful, Sirius Atmospherics, in conjunction with the Sirius Corporation, is offering the top 25% of pilots of both EGs a fully engineered, long-range, fast-boot size 5 FSD, which will be placed in storage in the Spirit of Nysa by the 21st of November 3306. To be eligible for rewards, you must sign up as an active participant before handing in power generators, robotics, structural regulators and building fabricators, or handing in combat bonds at Spirit of Nysa in the Muscadark region PJ-P B6-1 system. And that's it for this week's CG News.
Flossy told you what to do.
Thank you, Flossy. They look like fun, but I'm afraid that my Asp Explorer, the Lonely One, is preparing to go off in search of worlds anew to help with Going for Gold 2. There'll be no Borzak and the Coalsack anytime soon. Now, I suppose we should let the apology officer out of her well-padded cell to deliver the stream of unconsciousness that is the Hutton Sports Report. But before that, we have the first in what TV stations call a limited series. Commander Chix has been kind enough to send in some useful guidelines for those of you planning to set off into the black for the first time in aid of Going for Gold 2. Take it away, Commander Chix.
Good evening, truckers, and welcome to the first in a series of Exploration Tips and Tricks with Commander Chix. In a couple of days, I'm going to be back in the bubble after spending 2.5 years out in the black. And since Alvin has noticed that the Hutton Squadron trophy cabinet is a bit light on, well, trophies, and has decided that we are going for gold part deux, I thought I'd share a few bits and pieces of hard-won advice on how to make credits from exploration. This week, I'd like to talk about exploration ships and where to go in them. Before you groan at the prospect of 10 minutes of frameshift drive specifications, how to shave off 2 tons of fuel mass and add half a light year to your jump range, rest easy. I'm going to leave that to the multitude of YouTube videos, guides and excellent third-party tools already out there. Firstly, let's dispel the myth that you need a super lightweight, paper-thin, fully engineered, Guardian-enhanced Explorer Conda. You don't. If you have one, that's great, but with a few exceptions you can happily gather exploration data with pretty much any ship in the game. If I had to pick a top 3 in increase in price range, the first 2 are easy, as the clue is in the name. The Diamondback Explorer, then the Asp Explorer. Thirdly, and for me at least, it would have to be the Anaconda. Whichever ship you fly, and whatever its jump range, remember that neither of those things matter not one jot to how much you will earn from exploration. That, my brother truckers, depends on where you go and what you scan. Which commander type are you? There are 2 types of explorers in the galaxy. There are the jump, honk, scan, repeat merchants that rack up tens of thousands of light years every week, rushing about the galaxy, honking everything and mapping little. And then there are those commanders that glide serenely along, economically jumping to the next closest system, doing proper exploring, hoovering up credits like autumn leaves. This goes back to my point about exploration ships. Unless you were going into the sparse regions at the edges of the galaxy, you really don't need a huge jump range. Okay, I fly a 73 plus light year engineered stripped down Anaconda, but before you all cry hypocrite, my average jump distance is only 37 light years, only half my jump range, and that's across 25,000 jumps. Whichever ship you choose, make sure you fit a decent frameshift drive, let's say more than 35 light years jump range is preferable, a Discovery surface scanner and a large fuel scoop. Recommended optional extras are a surface reconnaissance vehicle and a small shield for bumpy landings, but ditch the weapons. So where should we go, you ask? Exploration commanders should ignore the advice of the surly landlord of the slaughtered lamb in An American Werewolf in London, and most definitely stay off the road. Do you find that you choose a destination, say Sagittarius A star, Colonia, or a nebula, head for it, then find every system has been discovered previously? That's because every Tom, Dick and Commander Harriet has previously had the same thought. Third-party tools such as ED-Astro will show you a heat map of regions that have been visited previously. Choose lesser travelled routes off the beaten path and stay well above or below the galactic plane by 100 light years or more, and you'll notice how many systems are still undiscovered, even close to the bubble. Only last week I found 8 undiscovered Earth-like worlds in 5 days, only 5,000 light years from the bubble, but 100 light years below the galactic plane. The point is that you don't need to go to the edge of the galaxy to make exploration credits. There are thousands of undiscovered systems just outside the bubble. Only 0.05% of the systems in the galaxy have been visited. By all means, make some long jumps to get away from pirates and into virgin territory, but you don't need to go that far out of the bubble to make lots of exploration credits. Next time, I'm going to talk about which system types and planets are best to scan and how to triple your exploration credits. So join me, Commander Chix, next week at the same time, same place, Hutton Radio.
Welcome once again to the reality check that is the Hutton Sports Report. The Hutton Sports Report is sponsored by Hutton Helper, the only helper in the galaxy to come with a photo of David Pearson installed to scare off the Trumbles. So, no trick shots, no offside rule applies, and one engineer, one song. This week's events are the Mike Reed's Runaround Go Cup Winners' Cup, the Doing the Christmas Shopping Early Like a Freak trophy, the Supermarket Home Delivery No Alcohol on a Sunday Morning Challenge, the Judge Dredd I Am the Law Celebrity Pro-Am Charity Shield, the We Come in Peace Shoot to Kill Federal Corvette Demolition Derby, the Dank Gas for the Babble Race Terminate Gavna Final. The Mike Reed's Runaround Go Cup Winners' Cup was taken this week by Zebedian, who scraped the narrowest of victories over Micro T. The Doing the Christmas Shopping Early, Like a Freak trophy was won by Christopher Hankey, clone number 2291-B, who managed to edge out Snake Hankey, clone number 1727-A. There was a steward's inquiry into whether either of the Hankey clones had washed their hands. They had not. The Supermarket Home Delivery No Alcohol on a Sunday Morning Challenge match was abandoned due to lack of interest. There were no surprises this week in the Judge Dredd I Am the Law Celebrity Pro-Am Charity Shield, with Alex Zuno taking it for the pro side. I mean, I'm sure Alex is lovely and everything, but do you think one of you that isn't Alex Zuno could have a go at this one for next week? Please? Just for me? Okay. There was a resounding win for Speed Cuffs this week in the We Come in Peace Shoot to Kill Federal Corvette Demolition Derby. A brave effort from plucky commander Alternative wasn't enough to make up the gap. The Dank Gas for the Babble Race Terminate Gafna final has been postponed until next week as one of the competitors had a bad attack of diarrhea during trampoline training. And so to the classified results. Keep out of the black and into the red, you get nothing in this game for 2 and a bet. Zebedian, 50. Micro T, 49. Christopher Hankey, 43. Snake Hankey, 38. Montgomery Python, 293. Bograt, 278. Alex Zuno, 311. Attic 2, 53. Speed Cuffs, 49. Alternative, 24. Montgomery Python, 921. Alternative, 346. Oban Saints, 6. Canvas Lang Hibernian, 2. Hutton Academicals, 4. Wise 0855-0714 Harriers, 3. Apollo 17. Gemini, 12. Apollo 13 was disallowed. John Wick, 1, 2 and 3. The guys who killed John Wick's dogs, 0. unless you count the dog and then it was 1. So this week, Speedcuffs has earned the decal. Could you please contact I took part at huttonorbital.com and arrange to collect your magnificent prize, which we'll send as soon as our email emerges from lockdown. Well, it's been a slow week for the Hutton route. I am told that there are roadworks in progress and that a forest of road cones has forced everyone to go the long way round. Granted, there is no road, but this would go some way to explaining why none of the 4 Hutton runners this week managed to get under 1 hour 25 minutes. You're going to have to accelerate early, brake late, and to get anywhere near Brett Riverboat's record of 1 hour, 22 minutes and 31 seconds. Maybe get Dom Toretto to tune up your ship for you. If you're locked down, locked up, locked in, locked out, or are otherwise incarcerated, then why not while away the hours with Hutton Helper and show these guys how it's done? Just go to hot.forthemug.com and download or register for the Hutton Helper. You could be a winner on next week's Sports Report and win a Hutton decal for your ships, just like the one all the cool kids have. Let's face it, it's got to be better sitting around eating Doritos in your pants at 2:30 in the afternoon. And that's the Hutton Sports Report.
Thank you very much, Apology Officer. It's very nearly time for the Galnet Food Digest, all about a rare good from Vega. But first, and this is a special one, it's a recording back from 2015. In fact, it's from Dockers Live, I think, in 2015, featuring a cast of many whom you'll recognise, including Commander Penfold.
Soon everyone will appreciate the ginger magnificence that is the glorious John Stabler. He's here, I can see him. The stand is now closed.
The FART show is filling up nicely, and customers are visiting the stands from all over the galaxy. We join John Stabler of Lave radio fame as he attempts to join up in a quest to leave his legacy to the galaxy.
And you say by joining you, my name will live on amongst the stars forevermore?
We operate on a first-come, first-served basis. Everyone who makes a donation and signs up will be rewarded in this life and the next for generations to come.
That sounds ideal. And all I have to do is pay 50 credits and sign here, right? Are you sure I'm cut out to I'm cut out to donate?
Well, you certainly are distinguished enough. You do have the hair for it. You say that you have a record of public speaking.
I've hosted lay radio. You really think I have the hair? People will be drawn in by that, do you think? What about all the other features? The arms, the legs, the slightly camp way I walk?
Well, we've had lots of people sign up because of their unusual features. You do know people who are special or have a bit different than they usually find their way here and sign up.
I always knew I was special.
We do have an online facility where you can check on your donations and pledge if you're feeling generous.
Online wanking. Oh, I like the idea of that too, yeah. I think this is the service for me.
John, I will follow you anywhere. Where do I sign?
Well, just sign here and we'll get you a robe and special book. If you just place your donation in the jar, you'll be fitted out with what would be ideal.
I hope you don't expect me to fill that jar. That's a lot of donation.
We ask all our donors to make whatever contribution they can, small or large. Of course, we prefer the large donation.
A donation that large must have taken a lot of balls. So you've all had experience of this yourselves then?
I've been here for many years and I have become very happy. Everyone is a brother here.
Oh, wow. So it's like cloning then? That's even better. Thousands of stablers roaming the universe. Sign me up now.
No. Me first. Finally, we can be together forever, John. Okay, what's this here? I hereby agree to sign to join the Supreme Order of Van Manden's Star and become a silent monk until the day I die or the day I graduate to the Holy Order of the Jumper. Signed, Viger. There, that's done.
Oh, monk. Shit. No, I've got that wrong. I thought this was... monk donation. Nothing to do with registration for the sign of sperm bank there, the serious sperm bank there.
What? I'm not going if John isn't going. What are you doing? No, leave my ginger wig alone. Ah, where are you taking me? You can't do this.
Take him away and make sure he remains silent. Push his face into a bowl of cheesy whatsits and offer his resistance.
On the other side of the arena, the staff at Barnard Station are having a great time, enjoying all the sights and sounds of a good fart.
Good evening. This is Aemilia Hawke reporting for the Galnet Food Digest. I try the galaxy's most rare and dangerous foods, so you don't have to. This week, the rare item that we'll be trying can only loosely be described as food. It's technically classed as a medicine, but as you can eat it, it's rare, and most definitely extremely dangerous. I'll be giving it a try. We've headed to the Vega system. The first challenge was to obtain the permit, which is only available from the Federation. As you arrive, the first thing that strikes you is how beautiful the main star is. A white V-class scoopable. Visible from Earth at only 25 light-years distant, it once held the honor of being the North Star in antiquity, a state that will be reclaimed in a little under 11,000 years. This week's rare is sold from Taylor City, orbiting the rocky Popov reward. It's actually harvested from an Earth-like world in system, Tracy's Haven. Reading the literature on the system, the guidebook says, very high humidity and native life make this an interesting place to visit. Many exotic foodstuffs are grown here. The scenery is strikingly beautiful, though the wildlife can be a little dangerous. Was known in ancient times as 3 Alpha Lyrae. The system has a population of over 600 million people, and the planet grows all manner of exotic foodstuffs. It's not those we're here to try, but Vega slimweed, flowering only every 5 years or so before dying. It is very rare, and due to its modern designation as a medicine, expensive to obtain. When discovered, it was initially thought to be a plant, leafy and bearing fruits that are, for want of a better description, like sweet corn in appearance at the base of the leaves. Early adventurers, part of an ongoing theme in our research, promptly ate the slimweed, declaring it delicious raw. It was only in the week afterwards that they started to discover the side effects of including slimweed in their diets. No matter how much they ate, they weren't putting on any weight after their long journey through space, and in some cases even lost some quite significant amounts. After medical checks, they all appeared healthy. Their bodies had the right mix of vitamins and minerals, it's just that there was less of it. Their food intake on this lush world was high. The native foods are abundant in all the essential ingredients to eat like a king. And eat like that they did. Even after the initial season of the slimweed had ended and they'd not eaten any for an awful long time, did they start to worry. It turns out that slimweed isn't actually a plant, but a parasite. It lodges inside the intestines, leaves lining the way and absorbing a high proportion of the foods that pass through anyone's system. It's slow growing, but through its own processes regularly creates fresh slimweed corn kernels to expel the excess. It is beneficial to the body as it is highly efficient at extracting and passing into the bloodstream of its host many of the nutrients needed to remain healthy, only keeping a portion for itself. But it rejects much of the food that passes it. Talking of passing, as with sweet corn, the kernels that don't latch on or are created in the body do pass. A few to start with, but the more you eat, the more it produces. Corn with every movement. Disconcerting to say the least that with no corn in, corn comes out. The parasite is one of the hardiest that humanity has come across, and to date, one of the more benevolent. It provides a level of immunity to biological poisons and toxins unrivaled even by medical science. And as long as you carry on eating, it renders its host almost impervious to weight gain. Eat a dozen donuts for an afternoon tea every day? Or deep fried everything with a sauce for nearly every meal? You'll maintain your athletic, spacefaring figure almost indefinitely. It's very hard to remove from the body, but there are deeply unpleasant medical cocktail combinations that will do the job and purge you thoroughly. And despite the positive effects of the symbiotic relationship, purging is most definitely something that you will want to do. There is one very nasty side effect of the slimweed. Every 5 years or so, the parasite pupates. Quite literally, alien life will grow inside you and devour you from the inside as the next stage of the life cycle of the slimweed starts. It begins with extreme hunger pangs that you can't get rid of, before becoming the most dreadful stomach cramps, followed by an exceedingly painful and violent death, reminiscent of the very worst of 20th century horror films. So, trust me, purge like you've never purged before. Galactic TV starlets throughout the galaxy foolishly put themselves through this cycle of slimweed and purge every few years in a vain effort to make themselves adhere to some archaic social norm. Rich Imperials use it to keep themselves svelte, despite bacchanalian orgies night after night. There are genuine medical uses for those that need it. I've noticed the effects already. My flight suit is a little baggier around the edges, despite having sampled just about every food on offer on this world. I feel healthy and well fed, but there's a lingering doubt in my mind. The doctors who have allowed me to try it, for it's not widely available and should really only be eaten under the supervision of a qualified practitioner, well, they say I'll be perfectly fine after a purge, though I'll have a certain anxiety about what happens every time I get a stomach cramp in the future. I mean, did it work? Am I about to have my insides rearranged to my outsides? This is Aemilia Hawke reporting for the Galnet News Food Digest. I'm about to drink my second purgative, just in case, and I can tell you for free that nothing is worth this. It smells of yak armpit hair and tastes even worse. I'd like to remind everyone that you're fine just the way you are, and please don't mess with this stuff. I've eaten it and I've given you a warning, so you most definitely don't have to.
Thank you very much, Aemilia. My goodness, that's got to give you worrying moments, doesn't it?
Dude, yak armpit hair.
Yeah, I mean, you've had the stuff, but I mean, next time you go a bit sort of gurgly after a dodgy kebab, you'll be thinking, was it not cooked properly, or am I about to have some kind of chest-bursting, belly-bursting monster sort of destroy me?
I've seen the movies. I know what's going to happen.
Well, yeah. So, go ahead, go on.
I believe the dodgy kebab is one of the purgatives to get rid of the slim weed.
Oh no, but dodgy kebabs are tasty, really.
Oh no, they taste like dodgy kebabs.
What they do if you're sober?
Oh yeah.
If you've had a couple of beers, they are like food from the heavens somewhere. They really are. But yeah, I mean, these things that you go and try, Aemilia. I mean, obviously, the slim weed. I mean, it clearly works, but why would you want to?
Well, I do it so that other people don't have to.
I mean, there are people that choose to do this and then have the purgative and then do it again 5 years later, then have the purgative to try and maintain some kind of ridiculous figure. I mean, you've seen the Hollow Me systems are all stuck on, slim.
Yeah.
I mean, there isn't one that looks like me there. Put it that way.
You can't do it. I've pushed the fattometer all the way up, and it doesn't go anywhere near me.
It just makes your chin chubby. That's all it does, isn't it?
Yeah. And did you see that picture? The picture of the slim weed. I know it looks a bit like sweet corn, but if you zoom in, there's sweet corn. There are eyes.
It's got little beady eyes.
Yes, eyes. And it's one thing. I mean, I don't want to be indelicate, but it's one thing when you're in a bathroom and you're about to push a certain lever and you've been having sweet corn, and it's one thing that looking up at you. What you don't want is something that blinks.
No, that's just not good. So
it does reach the question as well: is why does it have eyes? It spends all of its time in your digestive tract. There's nothing to see there.
But they are a sort of adorable, cute little eyes. Well, yeah, it could be an evolutionary. Maybe they sense other things. Oh no!
Oh, and if it doesn't see you through the week, it'll see you through the window.
Well, yeah. Well,
it's here all week,
maybe it's for after it comes out. I have no idea. No, I mean,
find its next victim. I don't know.
I mean, you imagine that first set of colonists, they get down there, oh, look, it's corn, munch, 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 and, sort of build their little colony and, harvest all these wonderful foods. And then 5 years later, I mean, you wouldn't even occur to you, oh, it was that meal I had 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, that's the reason for the eyes right there. It pupates and turns into something completely different that does need eyes.
Exactly. I mean, once it's got out, it's got to find a way to devour people or do other bad things. But I mean, these things that are declared as rares. Yes. I mean, I'm not sure they're all entirely a good idea. I mean, the ways that you could have been killed in the last, I don't know how many weeks you've been doing this, Aemilia.
The galaxy's a dangerous place.
Giant beasts and mushrooms that will take over your brain, and there are killer rabbits, and there's berry bushes that will try and sort of entrap you and slowly devour you. Crikey. Can't we just have a nice fish and chips or something? It's not gonna. You imagine it's like still living shark and chips that's going to jump off your plate and chew your arm off or something.
I do it all for our listener.
Yes, I have no idea
what the money.
I mean, there is one that we haven't sent you to have yet, and I'm just, oh my goodness, when I have to write that one with you and put the recipes in front of you. And then watch you go through with that. Well, oh my goodness. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to keep a straight face. Well, thank you very much to the Galnet Food Digest team. And terribly sorry, the script there with the slight trip up I put in the end there. I think obviously the corn was getting to me or to you or to somebody. But yes, the Galnet Food Digest is a legitimate part of the Galnet Digest group, as run by Commander Wotherspoon and as ably assisted by Commander Beetlejude as well.
Yay!
We're getting quite the collection of voices now, aren't we? With Chix, and obviously we've got the whole radio team, but we've got Chix sending in stuff. We've had HAXWING come back. We have all sorts of submissions. It's quite nice to hear so much from the community.
Always space for new voices, though.
Yeah. Voices in space. Oh, now we're talking about voices in space. Quickly before we go, it's still Smashdown Day, and I know Palantir has told me don't talk about things that nobody has an idea what you're talking about. So we're gonna begin from the beginning on this one. Smashdown Day. We're not going to spoil it for anybody, but it's a thing, isn't it?
Oh, it's a thing. Yeah, I had my Smashdown Day today.
You did. Yes, so there is an author, Mr. Barry J. Hutchison, who writes a series of books, which we have in the library at Hutton Orbital, called Space Team, which are very silly, very, very, very funny. In fact, the audiobooks are exceptional, narrated by Phil Thron as well. And we always heartily... Yeah, Uncle Phil. We always heartily recommend them to anybody who turns up at the Orbital if they're staying for a while. Just read these books or listen to the audiobooks. They're very, very good. Anyway, Barry has done a couple of fun bits for the show in the past with Phil as well. They did a broadcast that we did at the start of a show as well. He, during lockdown, has been trying to help out his local bookstore. He lives in deepest, darkest Scotland somewhere. And obviously the local bookstore that helped him launch his writing career, both as Barry J. Hutchison and J.D. Kirk, because he has a nom de plume as well. And the bookstore's been having a terrible old time because they keep having to shut. And of course, being in the arse end of nowhere, also known as Scotland, they don't exactly get very much passing.
You.
Passing
Never been so
traffic.
insulted in my life.
So he said, look, they've got a few of my books in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to write personalised messages on the inside to you lot, to people who have got his books. These are first edition copies, and I'll put messages to all of you in them, and I'll post them out. But the deal is, you've got to buy them from the bookstore, not from other online people as well, to try and help keep his local bookstore afloat, which is absolutely admirable in these times, and fair play to him for doing so. But so a load of us went and placed the orders. I think the Whinging Pom, one of our regulars as well, has also signed up. Commander Wotherspoon, possibly, Commander Claire Helen, you, me, all sorts of people. I think Snoz has even bagged one as well, with custom messages on the inside. We've even bagged one for ECM next year to give away, with a special message from one of the characters to Hutton, which is probably very offensive. Yeah. But yeah, so Smashdown Day, and we're not going to spoil it by telling you why Smashdown's important. I think you have to read to about book 6 or 7 to find out what Smashdown Day is, don't you?
Oh, yeah. And once you know what Smashdown Day is, you'll know that this is
the Smashdown Day is the day that the book arrived. Yours has arrived, and my courier's eaten mine.
I think mine probably had not as far to go as yours.
No, possibly not. But yeah, I think either my courier's eaten it, or it's just a lot further from where it was to where it is than it is now. But no, a hearty recommendation for everybody to go and have a look at these books. And also, I really ought to be fair to the bookstore as well, shouldn't I? To actually give them a name check to help keep them afloat if you're into your books. So give me 1 second just to look up the name of the bookstore too.
I think it's the Highland Bookstore.
You know what? The Highland Bookshop in Fort William. There we go.
Yes.
And I'm going to paste a link into the chat channel. That if anybody is interested in a very, very silly book and to help keep an independent bookshop open, then what you do is you go to this link here, which I've pasted into chat. I think it's all of £8.99. And if you put, I think they've got about 50 left of the first editions in. When you do the message to seller, you put a little dedication in there. Then Barry will sign it, as long as he hasn't run out of the first editions by then, and then send you your own copy. And just trust us. Read it.
And some of the J.D. Kirk crime fiction books are actually set in Fort William as well.
There you go. I hear it's a nice place.
I've never been. I think the Harry Potter Express goes by that way, though.
Pillbox says it's beautiful. And Pillbox wouldn't lie to us.
No,
Pillbox wouldn't lie.
No, Pillbox was dreadfully honest about selling all his data on the wrong week. Yeah. I mean, to read the descriptions, for the book, small-time conman Cal Carver is having a bad day. Imprisoned and forced to share a cell with a cannibalistic serial killer, Cal thinks things can't possibly get any worse. He is wrong. It's not until 2/3 of the human race is wiped out and Cal is mistakenly abducted by aliens that his day really starts to go downhill. I think that sums it all up, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it goes downhill from there.
And if you like Hutton, if you like Dockers, if you like all the kind of nonsense we get up to, it's along the same kind of lines. It is just silly.
Yeah, it's the same sense of humour.
Yep. So,
well,
there you go. I've put the link in the chat. If anybody's got the pennies free, help out a bookshop, and you'll get a good book at the end of it, signed by the author as well, who's a lovely chap. So, yeah. Other than that, Team Flossy, do you have anything else to add for this week?
Nothing I can think of, really.
Are you going to be doing some of this CG action?
Yes.
Or are you doing the explory action for going for gold? It's gold for some more.
I'm trying to do a bit of both, but I do want to do the CG because I quite fancy this FSD.
Because that's double engineered, isn't it?
Yeah, but I didn't even know there was such a thing. But yeah, it's sounds quite nice.
There isn't. It's a one-off. The only thing is, I'm not so sure about the fast boot because it's not fast charging. It's fast boot, isn't it?
It did say at first fast boost, But that was a mistake.
It's a fast boot. So if you have to
boot.
reboot it because somebody shut it down or you turn it off and on again, then it comes online quicker.
If you're one of these people who turns it off in combat to be able to use more power and use bigger weapons and things, then it's handy because when you turn it on, it comes on quicker and you can run away.
No, that's not something I'd be using.
Bravely brave, Sir Ronnie.
But engineered.
I did
no, he's back.
I did do a bit of combat this week.
Oh, well, wonders never cease.
Flossy 2 has been trying to get the FSD booster.
Oh, yeah.
And up to now, I've always done it with help from other people.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, this time I thought I'll go and get the mats ready. I got everything ready, and then someone was going to help me, possibly after at the weekend. But I thought, well, I'll have a go. I've got a bit more idea what I'm doing now. So I kept shooting these sentinels as they were appearing, and I started looking for the pylons to charge them up. I thought, right, I had a map I was following, going around the map. And I finally managed to get them all charged up and go for the orbit. So I did it all myself.
Those sentinels aren't so tough when you square up to them. When you stand up to those sentinels, they're not so tough.
No, they're not, are they?
No.
Yeah. On Flossy 2, my combat was 8% harmless. It's now something like 70, I think.
Wow. And always remember, put a point defence cannon on the top of your ship.
Yeah, I have one.
Yeah, that helps with the missiles.
So then, apology officer, what are you going to be doing over the next week between now and the next show? Are you going for gold?
I am going for gold. Well, we've got the event tomorrow. That's a kind of going for gold event because it's getting people out the bubble and doing a bit of exploration.
And are you going Are you going on a fleet carrier?
No, I'm there.
You're there, but are any of the
night.
team bringing a fleet carrier over it? Can anyone hitch a lift or?
No, you don't want to be hitching a lift. You want to be jumping system to system, picking up exploration data as you go.
There you go. That's just what we wanted to hear.
And once we've done that, I am heading off to Evelyn's Light, which is one of the systems that Frontier added. So that's about a 20,000 light year journey.
And you're going to honk jump and find all the Earth likes on route,
Yeah.
Kind of
Scan looking for Earth likes water worlds. I've already found about 8 water worlds that haven't been claimed. So
Fantastic.
they're mine now. And I'm just going to do that over. That takes me near to Colonia, and then I can come back, stay off the beaten track, but head back and maybe stop at the abandoned settlements and the conflux on my way home.
Sounds good. And you'll be back in time to hand it all in to help Hotbox with their trophy effort.
Oh, yeah. It wouldn't take long.
Yeah. And Palantir, how about you? I mean, I did hear that you were polishing your asp, ready for jumping.
Yes. Well, yes. As regular listener will know, I really haven't had any time to get in game for a very long time, since about March, to be honest. But yesterday, I did get into my Python, fly across to where my asp was, to get all the dust off of the dashboard, and my Explorer asp is getting ready to go. So I'm going to try and find some time.
And are you going to be using one of these sort of 100 by 100 light year grids that was that's posted up on the Hutton Facebook
when I
page?
When I work out how it works, I just set off and have a go and try and do some stuff. And I think with exploring it shouldn't just be about making money, even though that's good for us and the gold. I think you have to temper that with just looking at the beauty of everything that's out there. Hang about and have a look for some things.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And talking about somebody who hangs about and has a look, usually at a rock shortly before she detonates it, Aemilia and you, are you going to try some exploring and lend a hand this week?
I wish I could, but I can't. I'm currently in the process of helping newbies to the game come to grips with controls and everything. So when I do get some free time, it's probably going to be spent mining.
Well, I mean, you could always persuade them to install a ship's Parrot.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, as heard earlier in the show, you can actually get hold of that. All of £2.99, I think.
Cheap as chips.
Yeah, and he'll make all sorts of commentary as you fly your ship. Oh, goodness. You can actually eject the Parrot as well, just in case it upsets you. Palantir, I believe you've recently acquired a Parrot for your ship as well.
I have, because obviously I get lonely out there, and I haven't got my puncture repair kit with me anymore, so I'm just going to stick with the Parrot.
Yeah. Well, look, Other than that, yeah, we're going to be getting on with our exploring and CGs and teaching newbies and all the usual stuff. And we will be back next week at 8:30 Galactic time, also known as 8:30 in the UK. I have no idea how to translate that to Canadian and everything else time as well, like our French friends earlier. But it's 8:30 game time. And as it will be until next spring, I believe. So other than that, it remains for me to say thank you very much to all our contributors. Thank you very much to our listener for coming to join us as well. It will be available if you've missed some of the show. I noticed the Announcer UK did turn up. I think you turned up at the end, the Announcer UK. But the rest of the show will be available on YouTube within 24 hours or so, depending on how fast the upload goes. And we will paste up some links to it. And then we'll probably find that Norman will do his magic work and put it into the radio rotation and up on our media.forthemug.com website as well. Thank you very much to, excuse me, losing my voice, Eddie Lee Wise this evening, or Eddie Lee Wise Jr., depending on how he's feeling. And we hope his keys get returned to him sometime soon. So the only remaining thing to say is, what is it, Aemilia?
For the mug!
For the mug, everybody.
For the mug.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of the show. Everybody's buggered off now, so why don't you bugger off too?
Journey too long, no cargo too small. Profit margins never really mattered at all. We're gonna take the cargo where it's needed today. Super cruising all across the Milky Way. We're taking anything, anytime, anyway. Loading up the teen out to the brim with the rest for the more. For the more, for the more, for the more. Yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the more, for the more, for the more, for the more. Yeah, everybody sing the trucker song. Flossy always seems to crash into the sun. Skibble lights the pilot on the Xbox One. Halving out the frame, you know he leads us well. Trucking across the galaxy, now everybody out. For the more, for the more, for the more, for the more. Yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the more, for the more, for the more, for the more. Everybody sing the Hutton Trucker song. For the more, for the more, for the more. You know just where we're coming from. For the more, for the more, for the more, for the more. Everybody sing the Hutton Trucker song. So give me a large path that I can land on, and I'll give you cargo and sing you my song. No point 22 light years to go, cruising to no journey too long, no cargo too small. The profit margins never really mattered at all. We're gonna take the cargo where it's needed today. Super cruising all across the Milky Way. We're taking anything, anytime, anywhere. So shout it out loud, loud. You don't even care. For the more, for the more, for the more, for the more. Yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the singer and trucker song. For the more, for the more, for the more. Yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the more, for the more, for the more. Everybody singer and trucker.